Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Catherine. I'll be your webinar facilitator today. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the Lead Generation Local Business Marketing, How to Increase Traffic, Views, Clicks, and Calls. As a brief reminder, all lines are currently on mute to prevent background noise. If you have questions during the presentation, go ahead and type them into your chat box. We'll be happy to answer at the end of the webinar. This morning, it's my pleasure to welcome Jennifer Bagley, CEO of CI Web Group. As you know, CI Web is one of our preferred vendors. Jennifer, you may now begin the webinar.
Thank you so much, Catherine, and thanks so much to everybody taking time to join for today's session. We're going to talk a little bit about local marketing strategies. As we get into a new year, Google is always excited about coming out with new strategies we all need to pay attention to. All your major technology companies are announcing releases of new technology and adaptation from consumers for existing technologies, and it always is fun because in our world, we never get bored. Everything is always changing. When it boils down to it, this process of local marketing or local directory listings or local brand management, there's a lot of versions or variations as far as what people call it, but it essentially is the same thing. We're going to cover the basics. There's a lot to learn, so we're going to avoid headaches today, not go over too much, but at least enough to be able to make some good business decisions and have an idea of how local directories play a role in your business and consumers' everyday lives today. That being said, for those of you that have attended webinars in the past, we have, of course, a roadmap, and I've got doing 3 days of speaking events out here in Houston for a group of dealers, and we handed out the 12-step roadmap that we've used for the last about 12 months and told them that they're getting the last printed copy of that version because it's got to be retired. And it has to be retired because it has to be reorganized and reprioritized based on some major technology advancements that are taking place or have taken place already, and the impact that has on how we need to prioritize our marketing efforts. So,
Jennifer, I'm wondering if you're getting any kind of notification that your Wi-Fi is dropping because your audio keeps dropping out. Is it possible at all for you to switch to? Yeah, is it possible at all for you to switch to a phone?
I can.
I'm wondering because for whatever reason your audio garbles and drops out briefly. I figure we might as well resolve this sooner rather than later.
That would be great. Let me just grab the number and I will
It's
switch
one of those
over.
days with technical difficulties, everybody. Just one of those things. Sorry about that.
We are in a hotel conference room, so it's probably possible.
Power outages, Wi-Fi problems.
All right, phase 2. Hold tight, and I'll call in.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So unfortunately, this morning has been just one of those things, but thank you for hanging with us for this webinar. We really do appreciate it. If you do need to drop off before the end, of course, I'll be sending you out a recording with a link. You can always refer back to it, but we're glad you're here with us and glad you stuck with us. We really appreciate that. And it's a great topic. I learned a lot listening to it previously, so I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it as well. And she's just dialing the phone number now, so give us just a second and we'll see if that makes things better. Hopefully that resolves the audio issues. And don't forget during the webinar if you have questions to chat them in. And looks like Jennifer's back, so I'll go back on mute.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Thank you, thank you. It's so funny because the group I was just with, I was telling them, you know, we're a large group of entrepreneurs, and at some point somebody had to tell us that this wasn't easy. Well, when it comes to marketing, same thing. But I know in my world, I was told if it wasn't easy, and you know, going into it, do it with a smile. So, phase 2. Step 7, SEO. 8, video 9, blogging, email, text is 10, PPC 11, and mobile 12. Now, that's it for this. So depending on how many of these you've attended, this will be rearranged and everything will be reprioritized based on today's environment. So this is what drives change. When I stand up in front of an audience of 1,000, 500, 100 across the entire United States, Canada, and abroad, and I ask them, how do you find a product or service when you need something? The entire audience says the same thing. I Google it. My question is always, then what? Do you click on the ads? Very few, if any, hands go up. In the last 3 days, I spoke to 300, and we had 2 hands raised when asked if they click on the ads. Do you click on the maps? Everybody raises their hand and says, oh, if it's local. And do you click past the first page of Google, or do you look at the 10 results? And everyone says, of course, the 10 results. So that's when you're doing a search on a computer. However, people aren't all living in that space anymore. Customers, your customers, homeowners, mom, dad, husband, wife, parents, families, they're living in a new era of all these different devices. And it's not just about typing something into a search engine anymore. It's about talking to all these devices, talking to Google Home, Amazon Alexa, Echo, Dot, all of these different smart devices that allow you to speak to them to get information and answers. Because the devices change, human behavior changes. So, yes, as technology continues to advance, people are going to keep changing their ways. As long as people keep changing their ways, companies have to adapt. All the different devices and browsers, apps, maps, directories, AI, artificial intelligence, smart home, businesses are now required and have always been required to keep up with technology so that they can be an option when and where people are looking based on the devices, the behaviors, and the actions of consumers. Now, here's where things change. When I ask an audience, how do you find something you need, and they say Google it, I have to go back and ask them, how many of you are now asking the question? When you say Google it, does that mean you're actually opening up the computer, grabbing your tablet, or typing into a search engine the question? Or are you now talking to a device? Are you saying, hey, Alexa, find me the best air conditioner or repair company in Seattle, Washington? There was a study done recently, and they're checking on just that. 71% of people use AI devices, which is a voice assistant for questions or searching for something specific. This is the United States, US-based search for adults. The majority of that population are 45 and older. Hardware sales. Of course, Amazon's leading the way, are going to continue to grow. You have a lot of these different devices. Brands need to monitor these changes in the marketplace and know where to plug in, know where to be found, know where to play the game when it comes to these devices that allow people to manage their lives by speaking, not just typing. There's an increasing movement towards smart homes. You guys you're in that bucket. You guys are part of this process. The major manufacturers are coming out with smart thermostat. They're integrating into security systems. They're coming out with smarter ways to be able to manage their household, higher efficiency systems, whether it's integration of solar or ways to reduce your overall costs. And they're integrating with these devices that allow them to manage their everyday lives, including locking their doors, managing their room temperatures, turning on and off the lights, or changing all the colors of the lights to your favorite football team on playoff day. This is going to change, and it is a psychological shift in how consumers work. Here's the reality. When a customer does a search using an AI device, if they ask Siri the question, if they ask Google the question, if they ask Cortana the question, if they ask Alexa the question, it is not pulling up your search engine results page that you would see if you type the question into Google. It's pulling from local directories and reviews. So all of a sudden there's a complete divide. Everything that you previously have focused on, getting onto page 1 of Google, is it important? Absolutely, because there's still a huge percentage of people that are doing searches online. But equally important, and I'll have to see how to put this into a 12-step, is your local listings now play a huge role with 71% of the searches becoming an AI or a smart device request via voice, and those requests pulling from local directories, not necessarily from search engines and websites. They're dependent on reviews. You also have major changes that are, these are here. Voice search, what I've been talking about, it is expected that voice search will grow by 130% this year alone. That changes the game and gives you another opportunity to reach people via AI device and local directories. The mobile first movement. So I know you guys remember what year are we in? 4 years ago, when Google came out with a requirement for mobile responsive websites and said anybody that doesn't have it is going to be deranked. Well, that requirement is changing even further, and it's moving into a mobile-first environment. I will do a webinar on this to talk about what that means as far as your websites, your SEO strategy, the technology, because that is a big movement. It's not just about being responsive anymore, but that also really pushes the initiative for local directories to help kind of buffer what's going to have to happen for that change. In addition, these devices have actions and skills. We'll come back to that in another session. PHP 7 is going to be a huge change. AMP I talked about last year, and that is continuing to scale this year, which is accelerated mobile pages, schema markup being the #1 thing that is necessary in today's environment from a digital standpoint. Visual search. Amazon is moving to visual search space with Echo Look, Spot, and Show products. Google has also fallen behind in visual search as well. And then HTTPS has now become a hot spot as far as Google evaluating website. That means if your website is not secure, if it does not have https://www.blank.com, that is Google's preferred URL structure. And with all of the security issues I'm sure you're aware of, you got to have a secure site. You need a SSL certificate, and that's going to make your site secure, and it's something you invest in. You pay on an annual basis, and you renew it on an annual basis, and you got to have it. So the big technology and tactics U.S. marketing leaders are seeing as the next big changes in search marketing. This started May 2017 was AI and learning machines, voice searches, digital assistants, mobile optimization, the speed or rate which mobile devices and websites are rendering information, mobile app indexing, and other things. These are the main players that were brought up as the hot topics in early 2017. These are expanding in 18. So all of that being said, what's going to happen, or what is happening, websites are becoming more expensive to have done because the requirements are expanding, which means that there's more resources that need to be allocated to the project, and they're going to take longer to get done. It's a fact of life. It is what it is. So we need to plan better and plan more time. Or if they're not reinvested in, they're just going to be old. They'll be outdated from the day that they launch, which with such a changing environment, that's very, very normal. So we need to think about websites more like a project, or excuse me, less like a project and more like a lifestyle, something that you're continually reinvesting in, continually modifying to stay with the times, especially if every audience says, what do? I go to Google, do a search, I click on the results in the first page, I look at their website. If it's great, I move forward. If it's not, I move on. Then I check out their reviews. If they're great, I move forward. If they're not, I move on. And that's whether it was a referral or not. So we got to do it. What can businesses do to keep businesses competitive? Between web, search, social, local, mobile, these are your hot topics this year. One, make your website intelligent. Intelligent essentially means that you have superior content, and I'm going to do a webinar. I've already got April set, but I'll probably pick it out for May. That is extremely focused on how to get the information that is in your, I'm talking to the owners, the technicians, the service experts. The information that is in your head has got to become a digital asset for you, and we have some really great ways that you can now do this without having to pay expensive amounts for content writers who don't know your industry, and to get that content onto your website. So when I say make your website intelligent, you are intelligent. If I have a marketing person on this call, what I'm saying is the owners of your company have a lot of valuable information in their head. And as the marketer or the office manager, it is your responsibility to get the information out of their head into a digital format so that we can clone them, duplicate them, and make these devices, their website, as smart as they are. It's got to work for them while they do other things. And then schema markup is, without getting too nerdy, it just has to get done. Gain control over your digital knowledge manager. So there's really no companies that have or need a marketing person inside their company. What they need is a digital asset manager who's responsible for capturing all of the great stuff that's happening in your company, the tribal knowledge that you have, what's happening within your community, with your weather, with your brand, with your products, with your services, new hires you may have, new services you may be offering, new promotions you may want to offer. That person's responsibility is to collect all of that information and communicate it out to an agency that has 20, 30, 40 resources where you're going to be using 10%, 5% of those highly talented subject matter experts to disseminate that information. Coders, designers, search engine experts, local listing experts, Google business listing experts, Yelp experts, and so forth, social media experts. You need 10% of 40 people's time or 5% of 40 people's time. There's no one person that can bring those things to the table without costing you a fortune. Actively manage your knowledge. The information that is out on the internet, it's got to be accurate. There's too much ignoring or just stating I don't have time to pay attention to how is your brand represented online, which is where everyone looks. It's and I know it's frustrating, and I know people say, I've went through 10 web companies and just this massive frustration. I hear it from dealers all the time. It's not easy, but it's got to get done. It's got to get done. So, finding a company that cares and knows what they're doing, and then partnering with them to work through this, work through the challenges without the frustrations. Google takes forever to respond. They don't have control over everything. What they need to do is work tightly and closely with you in order to be able to actively manage all of your brand information online, publish your knowledge, keep it out there on all of these different networks and systems, and then refocus all of these assets to leverage on your website. And this last one, refocus your website and digital assets on conversational long tail. So industry term, what long tail means is when I talk to Google Home, my conversation is much different, right? I talk faster. I'm going to have a longer question. It's called a conversational long tail search phrase or long tail search phrase. I mean, it just means it's a longer version. It's not AC repair in Edmonds, Washington. It's not AC repair in Lake Jackson, Texas, or furnace installation in Chicago, Illinois. It is when do I need to replace an air conditioner in Jacksonville, Florida with when I live on the beach next to seawater? Okay. How long does an air conditioning system last living on the coast of North Carolina or Myrtle Beach, right? It's longer conversational things, the questions that your customers are asking you. So these digital pieces of information, digital knowledge about your business, digital knowledge about your industry, your products, your services, you guys all have quirky things, right? If you're in California, there's earthquake shutoff valves. If you're in Fishkill, New York, you're focused on boilers and older gas conversions. If you come from Chicago, you say the word furnaces. So if you're from Seattle or Oregon or California, a furnace and something in Freddy Krueger's basement, they don't have furnaces. So everybody has these unique things. Those are the who's, the what's, the when's, the where's, the how's, the why's. All of these things become really important pieces of information that we need to digitize, and we need to get those pieces of information out on all of these networks so that when these devices are being called upon, you're an option. We need you to be an option when and where people are looking, and those things are changing. It's to the point where with 71% of the searches being done via voice and 130% projected increase for voice search, local listings just became really, really important. Really important. So I don't want to wait. A lot of dealers, when it came down to the mobile responsive, they waited 2, 3, 4 years. They waited until every single person in their entire family and extended family was carrying an iPhone or an Android or a smartphone before they updated to mobile responsive. We can't wait that long because those, they're still the ones that are struggling or behind. So we don't want to be behind. We need to get on this local directory listings quickly. In today's environment, if you're a startup, so if you're on this call and you are a 2-person company, 3-person company, doing less than $250,000 a year, maybe you have a website that has 5 pages or less, maybe you don't have a website at all. Here's the bootstrap version how to launch your business. You put up a 1-page landing page. It will not go hunting for new business for you. It will not under any circumstances. Landing pages are usually used for pay-per-click. But a very well-designed landing page designed to convert leads, accompanied by a local directory marketing plan, will keep your cost extremely low, allow you to scale because now you have a good-looking website that didn't require a ton of content. You use the local network or the local directory listing space, and I'll show you what those are, in order to generate the traffic, drive that traffic back to your landing page. As long as the landing page is hot, designed to convert, you now have an inexpensive marketing plan that doesn't require a tremendous amount of maintenance on your end, and you're going to grow. In fact, if you do that for the first couple years of your business, and then 2 years down the line, 1 year down the line, you reinvest into a more custom site and you start developing content, use that time to create your content, your collateral, you'll be better off than most businesses are that have been in business for 5, 10, 15 years that still have, a website they had done by friends or family and don't have content and, are operating, but their business marketing efforts are not as strong as they wish they would because they started semi-backwards. If you focus on that, then building your reviews, you're going to be set to really, really push forward with the infrastructure in place. So getting into local directories, local business directories, or local listing marketing, or local brand management, all of these, there's tons of labels. These are directories, you guys. Essentially, it's a website that's very powerful, that performs some function, might be a map, might be social content, might be a review site, and it allows you to post your business and various forms of content. So it may be your company name, your address, a link to your website, your phone number, your operating hours, do you take credit cards, emergency service, what promotions do you have, graphics, images, before and after, pictures, videos, about us, categories, services, descriptions of your services, your teams, all of these different pieces of content, depending on which one of these sites, they'll allow you to contain that content and start building a network online. There's 100 of them. We usually focus on around the top 60 to 70. Implementation goes like this. We set up the directory. So this is an example. This is actually Barron's Heating and Air Conditioning outside of Washington State. And they have 3 locations. I think this is Ferndale, Snohomish, and Everett. So we have 3 different addresses here. We have 193 local listings live. We've done 1,612 updates to those local directories. We have managed to suppress 32 duplicates, which this is when a competitor is trying to utilize your company's brand name and they'll use your company's name, they'll use your address, but they'll use their phone number, and they're happily answering your calls for you. What we've been able to attain from this, and it's less than a year we've been working on this, we have 47,000 views on search, 16,000 views on the maps, 2,200 views on Bing. Facebook, we have 300,000 views, total network impressions. So this is what these look like on a cell phone. Each one of these different directories have 100% accurate information and consistent information across the board. So your company brand name is identical on every single one of the listings, your address, your phone number, all your contact information. We are managing and monitoring all of the reviews that are coming in and making sure you get real-time notifications when those reviews come in. In addition to that, we're optimizing these in order to make sure there's accurate information and they become magnetic, that they attract new traffic. What you'll notice on this is every one of our dealers, when they come in, they start at the bottom of the barrel. No one manages this. Even the ones that are paying a company like a Reach Local or a local directory company, they're paying them and they think they're getting this service. What's happening is they're getting their listing set up, but they are not doing any kind of additional marketing. They're not publishing content and images and keeping those things updated so that you can have this kind of an increase in traffic. So we grabbed a group of HVAC dealers. We picked basically 5 in West, upper central, south, and east coast, and wanted to give you an idea of what those look like. Just a random group. We had 411. This is 2 years. 411,000 views on map, 1,000 views on search. You'll notice again, same thing. Really slim pickings when we first start off. No one is doing this well. Wound up generating 18,000 phone calls, 28,000 website clicks, and 10,000 get directions requests. And the majority of those things have been happening, after we spend 6 months to a year really having to build these guys' reputation online. So part of the process, like I said, is making sure that we're monitoring those reviews. There's no shortage of places where consumers can receive or leave a review. We got to make sure if a review is left, because your responsibility as a dealer is to make sure you respond, good, bad, or indifferent. You got to respond. Really, really important. For small businesses, it's even more important. Unlike well-known brands, if the brand's not that established, customers don't know what to expect from a small business, especially a contractor. Even in my world, in the digital marketing space, it's the same thing. So they're hesitant to make decisions and hire. So these third-party reviews can really come in handy, giving those customers better understanding of who you are, what you do, and why you're better than your competitors. When you're planning for local listings, it depends on your strategy on how you're going to do the implementation. So I wanted to give you some budgeting ideas, give you kind of an example of what companies can do. So one, you have the subscription to the actual directories. A lot of these directories actually have fees for enrolling. So if you do this on your own, you're going to be paying those subscription fees independently. I've seen them range anywhere from $49 a month to $2,500 a month, depending on which subscriptions. For us, we buy them in bulk. We have bulk packages where we'll take 100 listings and we get them for pennies on the dollar compared to if you're buying them individually, because we've got, obviously larger leverage. Setting them up, making sure your profile and everything is 100% accurate. Real-time reviews notification, monitoring all those sites, making sure that when a review comes in so you can properly respond in the right place. Also, utilizing them for acquiring additional reviews, monitoring those duplicates. If somebody tries to pop up a listing with your company name, suppressing those listings to make sure you're protected and your brand is not being used to help somebody else's business grow. Content creation in the form of graphics, video, promotions, and that content is then used for publishing and remarketing, reporting, project management strategy, and so forth. On the low end, with the highly efficient strategy, you're looking at around a $200 investment for up to 70 local accounts. That's total investment for up to 70 local accounts. And depending on how aggressive you want to be, that I've seen that go up to 5 figures, especially when somebody's trying to do that independently. They're subscribing. They've got a marketing manager that's trying to do it all in-house, and so they're paying for all those subscription fees independently. So there's obvious smarter ways to get it done than trying to do them one at a time. And any company can afford to do this. They can afford to protect their brand and leverage this and be available, be an option when consumers are searching via these voice searches. Everything is interdependent. Your website, Google is evaluating these local directories to determine the authentic or how authentic your company is. They're determining the accuracy of your business based on how your company is represented across all these. Your SEO is impacted by local listings. Your social media impacts your local listings. Your local listings impact your social media. Your reviews impacts your web, search, social, local, video, everything. So it's all connected. Some things to consider when it comes to reviews. These are the questions we get the most. your local directory strategy is going to also play heavily into your review acquisition strategy. I want you to be careful of these things. Sometimes people want to copy reviews from one site to another. No, they need to stay put. They need to stay where they are. So if you have reviews on Google Business Listings, they need to stay there. If you have reviews on Yelp, they need to stay there. If you want to generate reviews on your website, you absolutely should, but it should be tied into your schema markup strategy. So your stars are showing on search results, and you need to acquire the review directly on your website using a very specific reviews acquisition process. Some people, sometimes I've seen that companies say, well, I can move all your reviews, or I can put, a bunch of fake reviews on there, or I can change all your stars and make them 5 stars. If anybody tries to alter the data, run. It is a complete violation of Google's guidelines. Google, when it first started off with schema, it didn't have real specific requirements, so search engine companies and digital marketing companies were testing the waters. It now has extremely specific requirements, so it's got to be real. When you're responding to reviews, don't use canned responses. Businesses risk doing more harm than good if all your responses are alike. People can see that, and they see it as just genuine. So we want to stay away. We want to make sure everybody gets a custom response. No cheating, no fake reviews. So customers are asking Siri, Google, what's the best air conditioning company in blank with the best reviews? Well, each site and service uses its own algorithm. The best answer to questions like these, they all consult reviews. So remember, your search engines and your AI devices are looking at reviews in order to inform or create their results. They're giving priority to the companies with the best, most frequent, most current star ratings. You got to play this game. So the race to get more reviews, some small businesses are now coming out and they're trying to sell fake reviews. Run. They're trying to pad ratings of their own business with fraudulent content. Run. They're trying to hand select only the happy customers for feedback. You just can't. And I think that one squishes itself anyway, because usually negative people are more likely to go post a negative response anyway. Just that's how they work. They don't care about damaging another company's brand. So you really want to concentrate on generating those positive reviews so you can deal with the negative ones. In every business, you'll have 3 or 4 people that have something horrible to say, and that's what shows up online when there are thousands or hundreds that have had great experiences, and it's always them. So you want to be very careful with doing anything or listening to agencies that are trying to get you to bend the rules, break the rules, or take an easy road out. If it was easy, everyone would do it. There's no such thing as that. So go back to entrepreneurship. If it's hard, smile through it, make it happen. That's what entrepreneurs are. You guys get your hustle on every single day. Some of the hardest working people I know, and you can do this. You can. So we're going to try and help and make it easy. Highly recommend that you guys give us a ring, sign up for a strategy session. You can go directly to our website and pull your local listings report. If you go to ciwebgroup.com, there is a link in the lower left-hand corner. I think it says local review report or local listings report. If you want to run it yourself, you absolutely can. And that'll give you an idea of how you're currently positioned, how many of the listings you have listings on, the accuracy of the information. If you guys want to get it fixed and you want to start leveraging local business or local listing marketing in order to drive listings, you don't have to buy a website from us. A lot of times people think they have to get a website. You don't have to. Need to take care of this local listings thing. So I just want the brands to be accurate online. Most HVAC companies need a new website, absolutely, but it doesn't have to be a priority right now, especially rolling into summer. Get the local listings thing done because it's something that can be done while you go work on your business during the summer and you don't have to participate, because I know you guys are about to check out with the changing of the weather as we roll into summer. So depending on where you're located, I know our East Coast is in storms, but hopefully we can help make it easy. Either way, you need the information in order to get an idea of where you stand currently, and we can help prioritize if this should be something that you guys get started on and focus on sooner than later. Ms. Catherine, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jennifer. So I just wanted to say one more time, we are so sorry about the power outage earlier today that we had in our building. Sorry for the delay. Thank you so much for folks for sticking around with us. We absolutely appreciate your time. Hope you found it valuable. And I wanted to point out that you will receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording, as you do anytime you register for a webinar. So you can refer back to that or share it with someone who might be interested. And there is a post-webinar survey, so definitely feel free to let us know how we did. We do appreciate your time. And with that, Jennifer, anything you wanted to say in closing?
Thank you so much, you guys. I've left, if you want to grab your phone, take a picture of this group. This is our senior account executives and business strategists. Feel free to give them a call directly or shoot them an email if you just want to jump on a call and have them pull that report for you, go over it with you, and give you some ideas as well. So I want to make sure you had their info.
Perfect. We appreciate that. So thank you so much for bringing us this presentation, Jennifer. Lots of great information to digest. Hopefully people will go out and implement it before the busy summer season and really take advantage. And with that, I just want to thank everyone, whether you're here live now or later on the recording. We appreciate your taking time out of your busy schedule as well, and look forward to talking to you on the next webinar. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.